Okay, we now do Zera Shimshon on Lech Lecha. This is the 18th piece. He has many pieces on each parsha. This is number 18 on Lech Lecha. Plus, we have to call Chusa, Kadu about Chutza Mao Shemayim, about Chutza V'Hashamayim. Right. Umayim took all this Barosa, Melo Mar Bixara, Kisharpim, Vayazarcha, Kakobel, or Betna Shamayim, where Kohim, Koyezarecha, Mao Spar, Mao Na. Right. So now he's basically bothered by all the extra lashonis in the pasuk. Vayotzo so hachutza, of course. Vayotzo so, of course, what's hachutza? He took him. If he took him out, then he took him outside. So what's hachutza? Why is habet hashamayim a heaven word? So I just say habet lashamayim. And why is it? And usparza count the stars into Cosmo if you can count the stars, if you can even count them. Koyazar. That's why you say like all the other places, like you'll have kids as many as the stars in heaven. That's written elsewhere in his promises to Avram Avinu. So it's like a lot of extra words over here. So that's what he's bothered by, and he wants to make sense out of what these extra words, are coming to teach us, because we know there's every word of the Torah is meaningful. There's no extra words in the Torah. All right, so now also going on in this famous encounter, Bris Ben Absarim, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, and now you're going to come join your fathers in peace, or join your fathers. I mean, join your fathers, meaning in death. What do you mean? Avram's a tzaddik, so he won't be in the same place. So from here, he was promised that Terach would do tshuva. Terach will be tshuva, will be accepted with his tshuva will be accepted. All right. So now, what's that got to do with anything? All right. What does that do anything? Particularly, alluding to it with Avram Avinu's death. It's alluded to. His death is an allusion to the fact that Terach will do tshuva, because he will in death join his father Terach. Okay. Right. So now, generally speaking, he's not getting into particulars, just saying but he's saying generally speaking, even secular scientists, but it's non-Jewish scientists, but this was in his day, when just about everyone believed in God, and therefore also believed in the supernatural. All right, so that being the case, that was considered to be scientifically sound, that there is a God, that there's a first cause, and if there's a God, there's also spiritual creatures also. So therefore, ergo, the heavens that we look at above us are at minimal two parts. He's speaking very generally, you should know. The details are, many, very many, and actually he's going to get to some details later in peace. But, but heaven, right, is generally speaking two parts. There is the heavens that we could see with the naked eye, that has all the stars, and the Galgalim. This is going on Ptolemy, and this is before Newton, or before Newton caught on. I can't tell you if he lived after the time of Sir Isaac Newton or not. Don't know offhand. I actually think so. Actually, it was after Newton, but still, he's going with the classical, model of astronomy, that they're also not just Kochavim, stars, or Galgalim. They are embedded in these discs that go round and round, and those discs are considered, they're to be of great power, because they hold the stars and make the stars move. All right. So, okay. So there's that part of heaven, which has in the astronomy that the model that he's using, the Kochavim that are embedded in the Galgalim, these big discs, right? And then there's the spiritual heavens, where there's angels of all types, and on top of them is God's divine presence. On top of them, speaking in terms of level, not in terms of God's divine presence is everywhere, but as a word, it is revealed, most revealed on top of where all the different angels are. And regarding the spiritual heavens, is what we're worried. Well, not worried. I meant warned. Warned. We are warned. Right. Do not try to figure out. Do not research what is above you. Right. So we should keep our scientific inquiry limited to the heavens that we see. Call, for lack of a better word, the physical heavens. Which have the kochavim and the galgalim. My stretch of one of being gross kelm fell my she's and he came with Briasa Lamo, bonim to your Haskell Galim, Makim, Makim Kashapir Rambam, prepare Gil Torah Lecha hey. Right, so now he says now the physical heavens are what we call Meisabracious. He's going, with the Rambam's approach, as he goes on to say, that Meisabracious is to see the depth of, the depth of science, but not just, superficial, go into it deep and to understand the amazing wisdom of God. All right, so now the revealed heavens are in the category of Meisabracious. And he gets some details, which he took from the Rambam's Hilchos Torah. Like I say, he's going to the Rambam's model of astronomy, that there are actually 18 discs. Some of those discs are stationary, some of those discs turn. Right, again, this is before Newton. This is the model that was popular before Newton. The idea was that the stars themselves don't actually move. They move because they're embedded in these big discs that move. Right. So, of course, that model, this is the Ptolemaic model of astronomy. Right. So there's 18 disks. Some of them turn, some of them don't turn, which explains why some stars seem stationary when some stars are moving. Right. As the Rambam explains all this in the third paragraph of Torah, now in these disks, like we said. All the stars are embedded in these disks, and that's what makes the mazel. That's what makes the as the disks turn, they cause the stars to configure in certain ways that form the zodiac, right? Which are the mazalos, right? The mazel. Vehemem molidin brother manigos kor v'chom kites chor v'yom v'lai oshvodi acherev v'rav sava. We get mazel toli b'chelik katachta. So now these mazalot, that by God's will, it's because it's not automatic. It's because God wants it that way. Maybe they have no autonomy. It's by God's will that they cause all world events. They world events. Talking about not free will events. We're talking about whether it's cold or hot, whether it's winter or summer. Right, whether it's whether it's there's prosperity, the economy is good or the economy is bad, right? Right, when the economy is good, the economy is bad, whether there's war in the world, whether there's hunger, whether it's there is abundance, okay, etc., etc. Okay. Right. So imkain. So if so, a mazel tov. So mazel, comes from ergo. Again, in his day, this is considered to be scientifically sound. I mean, the Rambam definitely believed in this. I should let me maybe give a little. Is that the word caveat? Let me say, the Rambam definitely believed in the power of the stars to affect earthly events energy-wise. Maybe not to the extent that he's saying over here about wars and wars or stuff like that. But definitely the earthly energies that we have on Earth, are and how the elements combine and make stuff, or things decompose and then recompose. That's all by the movement of the stars. That the Rambam admits to. All right. Bottom line is, so even if it's not the detailed events that he lays out, but some of the things the Rambam would definitely agree with, like hot or cold, right, and different other energies, they all come from the stars and their movements, as the disks move them. Now, I guess I should add a word over here just to. I should add a word over here. Like one would argue, but this is again I'm speaking over here to add some explanation to something that he just expects you to know by yourself. He says it's all by the will of God. Well, wait a minute. I could calculate the way the stars will be configured, 1,000 years from now. And I've said the configurement of the stars, the way they're arranged, and the movement, and what's center of heaven, that all determines the energies that pour on earth. So it's all automatic, and it's so what way is it by the will of God, other than God wants the system to work? But it comes as if, God forbid, there's no hashgacha pratis, and it's all predetermined in the stars. It's all predestined. Answer. So just to answer this, that even the people that believe that even detailed events come from the movement of the stars, but still, the movement of stars give energies. Now it's true, see, energies will fluctuate based on the movement of the stars, but it's probably a range. No, not probably, definitely. There's definitely a range of how this type of energy could manifest. It could manifest itself in a way that's not harmful, and still it's this energy being manifested, or it could be manifested in a way where it is harmful, right? This configuration of certain energies hitting the earth. Well, okay, those are the ingredients, but we could cook up with those ingredients, better events, or we could cook up with the exact same ingredients, worse events, right? And that's where the divine providence, is clearly, it's in the hands of Hashem, because there's a big range of how this mixture of energies could play out. And Hashem said, no, it'll dafka be this, and dafka at this time. And, all the details are b'hashgacha pratis, and it's in response to our reward and punishment that we deserve. All right, so, okay. But the point is, the world events are shaped by the stars and their movements, right? Rosh Hashanah, maybe our pasuk is there. Stay midrashe razal. So now on this pasuk on this was for some. God took Abram outside and said, "Look heavenward, count the stars if you can count them." So he brought two different chazals. Right. So now one lashon in Chazal was that Avinu was an expert stargazer, which fits with the idea. The Kuzri says this. The Kuzri says that Avinu writing the Sefer Yetzirah, we believe at least the fundaments, came from Avram Avinu, Rabbi Akiva, and his base marriage may have edited it, but the essence of it, was handed, was from Avram Avinu. Okay, so now the and the Kuzri understands that Avinu figured all that stuff out even before this event, right? So he figured out not just what the stars do, he figured out all the primary forces of creation, right? And now Hashem is telling, well, your truth that you know by stargazing, get out of it, get past it, right? I'm elevating you above it, right? So if you saw in your stargazing, right, that you're going to be, that you are sterile and you're going to remain sterile, get out of it, right? Say me, get out of your stargazing, right? That's one shot. That's so Hachutza took him outside. Get outside of your stargazing, right? Then there's a second law that says actually he also transported him physically in a certain sense, at least in the prophetic vision, he said the prophetic vision was as such that he was, transported, outside of the space, the span of the universe. The Yolamangoli took him above the stars. Now, even these two chazals I just quote, they all, right, those messages that are get out of astrology, forget about astrology. I'm taking you, your mazel is going to be above the mazel that astrology looks at, be higher than the stars, or Mount took him above the stars. Either lesson could be derived from just vayotze oso, right? That Hashem just took him out. Why hachutza? Took him outside. What do you still need hachutza? Ve'efshar, and it says the Zera Shimshon that's possible. Shebal Moshe Tzir Michal Olam Hazeh v'midu chutz Michal Kacheni Me'arakia. ולא נכנס במקום המלאכים, רק במקום הכוכבים והמזל. כך אמר החוצה, רצה לומר חוץ ממקום הידוע, הנכבד והנורא. ובית השמיים לרמוז לעולם הזה, הנברא בהי. כי בו יש לו רשוס לעבד, ולמעלה לא שולם בו, ולמעלה לא, שולם הגלגל, נידון בכלל העולם הזה. זה, we say, actually, החוצה is actually coming to limit it, He took him out, but not totally outside. He didn't bring Avram Avinu totally to the heavenly heavens, the spiritual heavens. Avinu was poised, positioned, in the earthly heavens, the heavens of where the stars are embedded in the discs, right? And he says now, Habetna Hashamayim. Now we could have said Habet Hashamayim. What's Hashamayim? With the added hey, right? Right. So Hashemayim, right, is so Shamayim hey, right? Gemara Menachah says Ki b'ka Hashem tzor olam, with the name Ka, Hashem created worlds. With the letter Yud, he created the higher world. With the letter Hey, he created the lower world. And this lower world is inclusive of all the celestial bodies. That's all part of the lower world that's created with Hey. Hashemayim, the Shemayim Hey, the Shemayim that was created with the letter Hey. That's what you can look at, which, by the way, I think we had a piece with this, was in the Zera Shimshon that we did on previously. One of the pieces he also references that illustrates Behi Baram, Behei Bram, that's talking, so of course now we know that the Behei Bram, with the Hey, that heaven and earth created, that's the lower worlds, not the higher worlds. And that was the Heros added to the name Avraham. Right? He got power over the lower worlds. It's okay. The lower worlds are all yours to learn and analyze, and it's all yours, including for your intellectual satisfaction. There you have Rishus Lahabit, right? So this world you can look, the Shemayim Hey. Now I'm guessing, maybe we'll see. As I always say, whenever I teach a book in this forum, I am learning this in real time with you. This is a chavrusa. All right, this is not a pre-prepared lecture. This is we are learning this in real time together. So I'm going to take a guess that's also, we'll see, but I'll say that's also a hachutza, chutz, hey, right? We took them outside, but only to the letter hey. But let's see, maybe, maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. But that's a kopanim. That's what he's saying on Hashamayim. Took him to the Shamayim of Hey, the Shamayim of that belongs to the physical realm, which is the Shamayim ancestral bodies. Right, and they say here, analyze as much as you want. Habet nasharo, as far as the kol chav, count them. Analyze as much as you want. Right, this is within the realm of inquiry. Right, that's a legitimate, that the human mind can legitimately, really understand. Not above. Vavram haya yodea batzo haya isteroglogus gadol. Moshe Amru Zal ukasham lo akav says afshar she kashvirav shim ken of the chachma zu v'yadog libud azman chasel umar also v'timas nafshel umar or chachma zu leheva. So you say a very cute point, right? So now Avram Avinu was a great stargazer, right? He knew astronomy and he knew astrology. He was big. He was big. Now, Kosh Baruch Hu tells him, say my stagnin shulchan, dump it all. Forget about everything you know about astrology, right? So Zera Shimshon comes up with it's really out of the box thinking. That when I heard that Chazal from the time I was a little boy, say me shulchan, and never occurred to me the concern that the Zera Shimshon is raising, that I'm going to spend years and years and years plowing away and learning all these wisdoms. Koshel says it's nothing. It's like nothing, right? Doesn't apply. So to you, it's like a solid scientific proof from your knowledge of astronomy and astrology that you're not going to have kids. Don't worry about it. Everybody feels bad. All this studying I did is for nothing. I saw all this, so everything I plowed away for years, and worked very hard. That's all you probably learn to understand, learn a certain discipline, because of the whole discipline is sheker. Makes you feel like garbage, all the wasted time. And you certainly won't have any type of cheshek, any type of desire to continue learning it. Right? Right. Why should I learn something for naught? Right? You feel bad about the time wasted, and you're certainly not going to invest any more into this field of inquiry. Right, Lecha Amar Kodesh Baruch Beitna Klamata Re'ei Vavek Yosla Tulia B'Maz Gavreinu Melid Ava Avraham Molid Klamar Lolam She'Akol Toli B'Mazel On HaKodesh L'Farim Mavech HaMazel Tzikim Farim Eno Rotza Shamas HaTeva V'Im Kain Gam Ba'Avram Hayachol La'asos Lo Nei Sholid. Right, so now HaKodesh says no, Beitna, keep analyzing, right? Because the mazols are not sheker. The mazols aren't sheker, because as there's another, as I believe Lashon Chazal goes on, Avram, which was his name to that point, Avram can't have kids. Avraham can have kids. Yeah, so it's not sheker, because you were looking into the mazel of Avram, not Avraham. Okay, right. Although, again, there's a problem with this edition. The printer did not divide up the paragraphs in the appropriate places. Right. So, point A, that's why I mistakenly read a part that belongs, it should be read together with the next paragraph. Printer did a bad job, and it's beautiful print, just not, the paragraphs are not divided up correctly. So, point A was, keep looking at the stars, keep stargazing, keep learning that wisdom, right? It's not sheker. It's true. Avram can't have kids. Avraham can't have kids. But he adds that, but wait a minute. Omnam, right? Right? But wait a minute. We do know, right? Once we understand that, the limitations of the stars, God could override them, right? So couldn't God also override the mazel and make Avram, even without changing his name? They say, I'm changing your name, and therefore it stims with the mazel. So, what you know about astrology is not sheker, because you're looking into the astrology of Avram. Now you're Avram. But isn't it true that God can also override the mazel, which is like the lesson that everyone learns from this chazal? They said, "Say me stagnin shocha," right? I could override it. So if God could override it, he doesn't have to change his name. He could, even his name could remain Avram, and still he could have kids, right? Right. V'akach Omer Svar Kolim Im Tuchal Ispar Lermos Mag Tam Encho Yodeh Mispar Kolim Mishum Shah Gago Misavam Kisu V'Sanhedrin Ba'uvda the Kesar, right? Matzir Mimnei Kochayev V'Kashem Aluim V'Yordim Olim V'Yordim Ken Yezar Shalafi Apshat Lo Matzu Shinzrabu Yisrael Mispar Kolim Av Shavadei Shekach Ramazo Shekasher Hem Rabim, right? Kach Yirbu Yisrael. So I don't know if he actually answers this point, but he is saying like this, going in. Maybe the paragraphs were broken up correctly, because I don't see an answer to this last question, at least at this point, of why did Hakadosh Baruch Hu just make a miracle, override the stars, and Avram would also have kids. All right. I guess he's just may have said that point parenthetically, that Hakadosh Baruch Hu, if he wants, could of course override the Malach, but he didn't want to in Avram's case. And he just didn't want to override, but he just rather changed Avram's name to Avraham. Okay, but then he goes on to explain, now count the stars if you can, which is not something that was said by many other promises made to Avram Avinu that he'll have kids as many. He started to say, can you count them? Over here it says, can you count them? Right? So now the truth is, this, has to, this would fit with another question, that should bother any thinking person. There were never so many Jews in the world like the stars in the heavens. Right? But the truth is like this, that the Gemara talks about how why is it not possible to count the stars? The stars. Take a look at any given night outside. It doesn't always seem like there's the same number of stars in the sky. Why? Because again, going in the astronomy of their days, the stars are embedded in disks. The disks may turn. That like some of the stars, are now under the earth, right? So you don't see them, right? So on this night, there's the amount of stars that are over your head, right? And then the disk shifts. Now this is the amount of stars. The disks turn. It's not the same amount of stars over your head on any given night, and that's why it's tricky. We don't really know how many stars there really are. Sometimes it's the same star will appear, a few nights in a row. So then that star disappears, other stars come. It's very tricky. And that's why it's almost impossible to count to get an accurate number of the stars in the sky. Right? But there's an illusion that, listen, the Jewish people increase, like sometimes the stars, and it seems like there are stars. There are nights where there are more stars in the sky. There are nights when there's less stars in the sky. So it is with Jewish people. Sometimes it seems like more Jews, sometimes less Jews, sometimes more, sometimes less. God forbid after Tzar there's less, then it seems that we multiply Shloka Derech HaTeva. It's kind of like the stars. It's like a few nights in a row, there are very few stars in the sky. Then all of a sudden, a lot of stars. Right? That's how, so you say that's the mazel. You're saying like your kids will be like the stars. Doesn't mean necessarily numerically, but at least in this point, you're saying, you can't count the stars. You know why? Because they're always in movement, right? Sometimes there seem to be more, sometimes there seem to be less. And so because the disk sometimes moves some stars beneath the earth, so you can't see them when you look up to the heavens. All right. And, that's the Jewish mazel. Sometimes there seems to be more, sometimes there seems to be less, like the stars. Increase and decrease. Lo yavad nitzcham, shayboso mama bira avram sagos abanav tmuras hagehenom. Lo tashugos rishon bilvad yekach lo shagos kol yezarcha kasher kochaim olim v'yordim chozim v'olim la'olam kebarech yalu yerdu yalu la'olam v'Hashem shema lo la'azov osam v'achshul tztaka kol shamru zala pasu Barat staka asa imanu shiktim lagloseinu vevi nami rashi olav hashalom. Right. All right. So now he's saying like this, that the another remes about the fact that the stars are always in movement. They're embedded in these disks. So that doesn't just explain why sometimes there are more stars, sometimes there are less stars. That explains how the Jewish population fluctuates like the stars. All right, but other words, we know that in this encounter was a remes to the galuyos, right? To the exiles. And is the message. The stars go down. Seemingly you don't see them. Oh man, that star disappeared. But then it goes full circle. The disk continues to turn. And then the star comes up again. That's Ami. So we go down, we go into ghost, but we surely come up again. And it was to reassure, Hashem was reassuring him, will go down, but they'll come up, because in this event is where, because he asked Bama Edaki Roshana, he was offered a choice. You got it now. Your children are going to have to suffer because of that question. Gehenim or Golus? Aaron Vidu chose Golus. All right, so Golos. Okay, so let me reassure you: if they go down, they will come up again. The star that goes down disappears, surely comes back. Amish will always have a comeback, and of course, even the going down is in our favor. It seems like going down is inevitable. Yeah, because indeed, sometimes Rebbe Shalom sends us to Golos prematurely, because if we waited till last minute, it would be a lot worse for us. We needed to start getting kapara already sooner, right? That Rebbe Shalom exiled us a little bit before Vinoshantem, until we made up the Gematria Vinoshantem, because if we waited till then it would also been a lot more harder and it would taken a much greater toll. So yes, even the going down is for the sake of going up. It's like a wheel. It's a sort of cycle. Sometimes Rebbe Shalom shoves us into Gos even a little bit earlier, so we could surely get out of there sooner and fuller and easier. Right? So then after that, the Pasuk says, I am Hashem that took you out from Ur Kasdim to give you this land to inherit it. Give you this land to inherit it. Just say, give you this land. Or to inherit the land. Why? Give it you the land to inherit it. Kasha, the Lord says, Mashu Matana, Mashu Yusha. Now, of course, it's not just it is not just that this is like superfluous, If you say give, why do you have to say inherit? It's not just that superfluous, it's actually contradictory. Because Los Seis is a gift. It's a gift. A gift is not an inheritance. An inheritance is something which you have coming to you because it's in the family. So it's coming to you. As a gift is like, it's a gift. Came from the outside, purely on the benevolence of the giver. Whereas, inheritance is expected. It's expected. It's a right. A gift is not a right. It's an act of kindness of the benefactor who gifted you the thing. Right? Whereas inheritance, it's mine. It's in the family, and it'll come to me at the right time when it's my turn. Right? Whereas in Haisi Yochol Kachakolem Lavi Raya Shi Kaimuha. These are Shulchan Aruch Mish Baruch Averinos Kach Amanash Tase Torapoi Amakal Lavi Raya Shakim to know. Koshkoen Adrav Enrotza Gosimena El Kshiavru Aleha Legamri Yasiv Shom Kepeita Bagam Sartem Vazaram Mitam Knas Onesh Vaz Vatam Mitam Knas Onesh. Ha imlo yikamu afu lo yavru aleha ha rotze lachshov some kibenim v'rav chesed mate klape chesed. Right. So now he says like this. I'll tell you. I read through a lot to just build the whole train of thought. Says like this. Los seis is loshin matana. Right. So now a matana al tanai. So let's say he brings the halacha from Shulchan Aruch Choshen Mishpat Simon Reish Mem Aleph, which is Hilchos Matana. So if Yud, verse says, I'm going to give you this gift. I'm gifting this to you on condition that, right? The receiver does not get the gift until he proves he upheld the condition. The burden of proof that the conditions were upheld are on the recipient. So a person gives a matana al tanai, it's conditional. It's a gift that's conditional on something, right? The receiver of the gift has to prove, right, that the conditions were upheld. Okay, so it's a little bit of a problem here for Jewish people, that is, right? God gave us the land because we're going to keep the Torah. That's pretty explicit in a lot of places, right? It's for the purpose of, keeping the Torah, and we don't deserve the land if we don't keep the Torah. Now, it could be that, we're a little bit, right? We didn't totally violate the Torah, but we're not really keeping it well either. But here's the problem. The burden of proof is on the recipient, us. So being halfway is not going to work, right? Because we have to bring proof positive that we are upholding the Torah. So not just not violating it too badly. That's not enough, right? We have to bring proof that we are keeping the Torah. It puts us in a very, difficult position that we have to really keep Torah, be able to give demonstrable proof that we're keeping the Torah, which, we know our own history, right? So now that means if we are, So for sure, if we violate the Torah and then besides that we lose the land, we further get, punished, badly, badly, badly with all types of persecution. It's fine. But a question about getting the land, right? If the burden of proof is us that we're upholding the Torah, we're in bad state, that will, that will never really deserve the land, right? How can we bring proof positive that we're fully observant of the Torah? Now, of course, doesn't want to give us any freebies if we, if we violate the Torah, we get punished. But Kosh wants us to have a status quo, of Beinonim. We're like, okay, we don't violate the Torah too badly, but Benoni also doesn't keep the Torah too well. But problem is, burden of proof is on the recipient that the Tanai has been fully upheld. Benoni is not fully upheld, and the burden of proof is on us. So if it's a matana al Tanai, we are in dire straits as far as having the land of Israel. If it's a matana al Tanai and the burden of proof is on us that we're upholding the Tanai, right? Okay, let me explain this. It has to be incontrovertible proof that the conditions have been met. If there are any Jews not keeping the Torah, I don't see. I could deny that the conditions being upheld, and that's why it's in dire straits. Even as Beinonim, we won't have Eretz Yisrael if it's only given as a matana al Tanai. But of course, Andrew Baruch wants it that even for Beinonim, then he could give us the benefit of the doubt. But that would go against halacha if our only claim to the land of Israel is a begetter matana al Tanai, well, we'd have to bring incontrovertible proof that we have upheld the Tanai of keeping the Torah mitzvahs. Right. So that's why we find throughout the Torah also a Lashon Yerusha on Eretz Yisrael. Morasha. And it's in a lot of places. That Torah, Eretz Yisrael is called Yerusha also. Yerusha is unconditional. You get Yerusha because it's in the family and you're the next of kin. Whether you deserve it or not, whether you're a good guy or not, makes no difference. Yerusha is a inalienable right. So God wants to give Eretz Yisrael as a Yerusha also, right? Because he wants us to have it even for not so good, right? Even for not so good. Of course, if we're really bad, he throws us into Gullus, as we have seen from our history. But he wants us to have Eretz Yisrael even for not so good, which would not be possible if it was a matana al Tanai, where we have to bring in controversial evidence that we're upholding the condition fully. Okay, so Yerusha, that becomes us, it's an inalienable right. Right? Okay, so just give it as Yerusha without matana. Right? Goy es hager, v'ger es hager, lo midivrei Torah, v'lo midivrei seifrim. All right, I wrote here. It's a very interesting pilpul over here. He says, we have a problem of why Yerusha wouldn't work totally either. Avram Avinu was a ger, right? He was a ger. He was originally a non-Jew, and then he became Jewish, right? And that's why also all Gerim are called Ben Avram. He's Avam on Goyim. That's the Gerim. They're all children of Avram Avinu, who himself was a Ger. Right? It was a convert. Okay. So now says the Gemara in Kiddushin, Daf Tet Zayin, that a goy does get Yerusha from his father. Goyim have yichus, between themselves, amongst themselves. Goyim have yichus, right? There is such thing as father's son, as opposed to avodim. Avodim, Eved in Lochayis. There's no concept of Yerusha by Eved Kanani. Right? They're not considered related to each other at all, right? But a goy has chayis, a goy has lineage, within their own little sphere that they exist in. They have a av-ben relationship between them, and therefore, indeed, the son of a goy that died inherits his father, and that's midoraisa. They have Yerusha because they yesh them chayis, right? Now, what about a ger? Because a ger now is considered unrelated to his predecessors, right? Those who came before him, right? Geras hagoy midivrei, so only midrabanan, not midoraisa. Only midrabanan does a ger, right, inherit from a goy, who was his predecessor. But midoraisa is not really related. But midrabanan, if they come to us to ask us, come to Bezdin, the ger puts in a claim for his predecessor stuff. Midrabanan, we say, yeah, the ger should get it, right? So ger is a goy. The ger is gets an inheritance from a goy only midivrei say from midrabanan, but midoraisa are not related. Ger shen is gar kakotin shenolad dami. A ger that converts is like he was just born at the moment he was converted. And speaking of this, it just reminded a good friend of mine that was a ger tzedek, Rav Yaakov Deo. And I'm saying they was a ger tzedek, Lamal Yusa, that he's a man that, a man that, he was a Harvard graduate, a highly educated man. When he decided to go on a truth-seeking odyssey and converted to Judaism. And I'm proud to say that he was, in a certain way, my student when I was Rebbe at Eish Torah. But he was a dear friend, and we collaborated on some great projects. So, let this session of Zera Shimshon be in his memory. I guess Yaakov ben Avram, like we said, Yaakov ben Avram. It's a ger tzedek. And he used to always acknowledge that. When I used to speak to him, before I knew he was a ger, I first got to Aish, I used to, ask him, so what you do? And I thought it was about you. I thought before you're from, I was a different person then. And he was meant literally because Gershon is gar kakon shenolad. Yeah. Anyways, and he was a very special person, and I will miss him dearly. And let this session of Zera Shimshon be lishmas the rabbi. He got smicha. He really steigt, and he was a very, very smart and well-educated person, and and with being very well-educated, he did his went on his odyssey to discover truth and converted to Judaism and became a rabbi, and so led all this, the Divrei Torah of this Zera Shimshon Bili Nishmas, Rav Yaakov ben Avram Ger Tzedek, right? Okay, so now, goy is a ger, a ger is a goy, and a little bit of but let's say a goy, wants to inherit his father, the ger. So the father converted to Judaism. The kids that he had while he was still a guy remained a guy, right? He wants to put in a claim, in Bezdin, I want my father's Yerusha. So the kid remained a non-Jew. The father, no, he doesn't get it, not even midrabanan, right? The ger sager also, and now that a convert and another convert. Let's say father and son convert, right? Father and son convert. They're not related anymore. They're both, they have no prior history, So, the fact that in their previous lives they were father and son, but they were just reborn at the time of their conversion. They don't have, they're not related anymore. And Chazal want to make us keenly aware of that. So even midrabanan, a ger does not inherit his father that was a ger, right? Let's explain this. Father had a son. While they were, he was not Jewish, then the father and son both converted, right? They're no longer related in halacha, and Chazal want us to know that because it makes a lot of nafkaminas. They're no longer related, and to reinforce that, even midrabanan, the ger that is biologically a child of another ger gets nothing, right? So the goy can't get anything from his father's ger, and the father and son that converted, and now that son wants his father's inheritance. And that boy was his child from when he was a non-Jew, right? They are not related. So father and son that both converted, they are no longer related. So even midrabanan, the younger ger does not inherit the older ger. They're not, even though biologically they're father and son, they're no longer related in halacha. Lefikach, and therefore, Avram b'mayra kirshena, ki adayin deh b'mayra shena. That's your so bechel kol shel shem nafla k'shchat noach his arts Lebanav also Yorshu Mavosayim, Midin Tyrash, Goyas Agoy Yoresh, so Dvator Avani, Yoda, Ketsa Yoshena, Shima be Gamu Ger Tzedek, as Ger as a Ger no Yerusha, feel me divrei son. Bima be lo Yasachuv, Goy, Lote Yerusha, me divrei Seifrim. So he comes up with a brilliant chop over here, the Zera Shimshon. This was good. This is Geschmack. This is shtickle. I mean, all of Torah's Geschmack, but every once in a while, it's a zinger, right? He said, like, Sarvi's making a lump to Cheshbega when he asked, why did Avraham Avinu ask that question? It seemingly showed lack of faith. No, Avraham Avinu had a good shaila and halacha, good lump to shaila. Like this, how am I going to, right? How am I going to inherit the land? Look, I'm a ger, right? So now, Bishlam, we had mentioned, we had learned in other forums of Zera Shimshon, that Noach, after the Mabul, divided up the earth, and Shem got the center. Yefet got the north, Chum got the south, and Shem got the middle, which is where Eretz is. And okay, so it goes Yerusha, Shem to Aver, and technically to Avram. Now, while everyone's still goyim, it's midoraisa, like we learned a few minutes ago. Goy is Yoresh's father, the goy midoraisa. Okay, but now we know is a ger. So he says like this: look, I'm not in a good situation either way. Look, if Terach didn't do tshuva and Terach is still a goy, but I'm a ger. So yeah, we just learned a ger is Yoresh's father, the goy, but only midrabanan. Only midrabanan. So my connection to the land has been weakened by my conversion to Judaism. Because if I would have stayed a goy, God forbid, I would have gotten Yerush Eretzo midaraisa, that a goy is Yerush's father, goy midaraisa. I converted to Judaism, right? So now Bishlam of Terach didn't do tshuva and he stayed a goy. I would get it, but only midrabanan. But now what's worse is you tell me that Terach now converted to Judaism. He did tshuva. A ger is not Yerush a goy, not even midrabanan. So, how do you say I'm going to inherit it? It does not make halachic sense. At best, it's midrabanan. But now you tell me Terach is doing tshuva. Now it's not even midrabanan. It's not good Yerusha. On this cliffhanger, we're going to end today's session of Zera Shimshon. But look what a lumdisha sefer this is. Don't be taken in by charlatans that misrepresent the Zera Shimshon. You won't get the Zgula either. Okay, Coach K, it's not real learning. Okay, we will continue later this week.